This is the Jack Murphy Podcast. Here's your host, Jack Murphy.
Alpha, the future is so bright for those Georgia Bulldogs. I got to wear shades today.
And I don't have mine with me. What's up?
Yeah, look at here. I've got my Georgia windbreaker on.
You're dogging out.
I am ready for the big game. Bulldog born, Bulldog bred, and when I die, I'll be Bulldog dead. Playing Alabama tomorrow, 3:30. I tried to get a hold of cousin Daniel, who was going down to Atlanta for the game, but he's with his buddy Roger, and so I'm guessing it was a late night Waymo ride. And I texted him this morning. I said, "You got time for a quick blurb on the podcast?" And he sent me one word back: driving, which I don't buy that for a minute. Not for a minute. Well, as we start off the weekend here, Alpha, there are a lot of people out there. They're not lucky the way many people are. They're all alone, and they're lonely. And I like to think of myself as somewhat of a matchmaker. Do you ever do that?
I try not to.
Yeah, I've actually put some couples together that wound up getting married.
And they
in the past on the radio. Yeah, quite a few of them, as a matter of fact. None of them worked out long term.
No.
They're all divorced now, but it was a great story for a little bit.
Not a successful matchmaker.
No. And I don't think it's going to start being successful today, but I just want to introduce everybody to Gwen. She's very lonely, and if you're lonely, maybe get in touch with her and see what's up.
My ideal man doesn't play the drums, doesn't stay late at the bar, does what he says and says what he does not get a fancy lawyer that the other person can't afford if things get weird. My name's Gwen. I am divorced. I have 2 kids, and I will not ever regret having those 2 kids, okay? So that's really important for me to tell anyone who's listening.
Fair enough.
I type 110 words a minute. I actually can type faster, but I keep a little bit for myself.
Yeah.
I blew out my knee jazzercising, so I don't want a guy that's too active. My best qualities? I own a timeshare. My favorite way to unwind is with a Virginia Slim and a big scoop of cottage cheese, half a tomato. Why I want to find love is I just think that everybody deserves a second chance. I want to go to the PTA with somebody. Not just myself. Oh, there's Gwen. She's divorced. Oh, did he run away with his secretary? I left. A great first date with you would be 2 words.
What?
Benny.
No. You would think whenever they were doing these videos, I guess those are probably from back in the 90s, you would think they would coach them up a little bit.
A little.
Like Gwen, look, probably better not mention the lawyer or the cottage cheese or the jazzercise knee thing.
Yeah, you don't want an active man.
And definitely don't want to mention the PTA. No guy looking for a woman wants to, think about, I got to go to the PTA with you.
Yeah.
It's not going to work out. Well, there are many things going on today that we've got to get to, serious things. The first thing is I owe an apology. We owe an apology. The podcast owes an apology to, as far as we know, let me preface that because the good folks over at The Blaze are not turning loose of the story. Are you up on this?
I hadn't heard any follow-up to that. I know that they released, you're talking about the pipe bomber, right?
Yeah, the pipe bomber.
Yeah.
They still say it's that Capital City cop, and
that woman.
They've opened themselves up, which we talked about here on the show, and we didn't say she was the bomber for sure. We said she sure looks like her. I mean, sure looks like the person in the video that we saw, but they've really doubled down on it. And I was watching a clip of Megyn Kelly yesterday, and she said they've really opened themselves up for a lawsuit if they're wrong from this Capital City cop, because they keep saying, this isn't the guy. Now, the guy they've arrested is a guy named Brian Cole, and here's a picture of him in the costume, and this is him in everyday life. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about Brian Cole. First, before we get to that, did you see Jake Tapper when the story broke?
I saw Jake Tapper. Something made me wonder if that wasn't sort of AI generated or something. Because seriously, Jake, I mean,
yeah, it's real. It's real. I've seen it on several other networks. Jake Tapper. Here's a picture. Are you surprised? I mean, it's happened every time there's been a big event where somebody was shot or killed. They automatically say it's a MAGA, or it's a white guy, it's a Christian nationalist, or whatever.
They want so bad for it to be that.
Yeah, exactly. So they show the picture of this guy, and here's Jake Tapper talking about it.
Ian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting an explosive device in instruction.
30-year-old white man.
White man.
We can see, Jake, he's not white.
Jake, look right over there. There it is.
Jeez. But a little bit about this guy. Officials with the FBI arrested him early Thursday. Now, apparently, I read through several pages of the story. I won't bore you with it all, but apparently there was no new information developed. Right. They took existing investigative materials that were sitting at the FBI and were able to come up with this suspect and then be sure that it was him and arrest him.
They had cellular pings. They had the video evidence. They had tons of stuff. And you're right, just sat on it.
They didn't want it to be a black Democrat. They wanted it to be a white MAGA Republican. This was a young black man, radical anti-Trump activist. He sued Trump and ICE and DHS, extreme racial justice advocate, works at his family's bail bonds company that frees criminal aliens from ICE custody, which this perfectly explains why the Biden FBI didn't want him arrested. He's their high-profile star voter category. The FBI did not fail to catch him. They didn't want to catch him.
30 years old, lives with his family, lives with his parents. Mm-hmm. And apparently they discovered lots of other bomb-making type evidence and device around the house. I mean, how does that not get discovered?
You can raid the president's house and go through his underwear drawer, but you can't raid the house of the guy you know is the bomber. I don't know. It's a pretty ugly cover-up, and I think it's going to get uglier before it's over.
There were neighbors who sort of called him autistic and said he doesn't like to make eye contact. He's very shy. One neighbor said he would see him walking his dog, and he said they really ought to take a look at the gait profile of his walking because he's only 5'7", and the neighbor says he has unusually short legs. So I mean, if there's a little
I didn't see that, but as we talked about when we were talking about the Capitol police officer,
right?
They had used some computer software to match her gait to it. So I don't know how accurate that is, because if you remember the story that we had said that her gait matched the video's gait like 93% or something like that. So,
but you say Glenn Beck and the Blaze are standing by that story.
That's what she said last night. Wow. I saw a little clip of her podcast, and that's what she said last night. So we shall see. Wow. Now, the other big story involves there's two more big stories involving the Biden administration. Biden's former chief of staff admits that he did not write the Autopen approval email for presidential pardons. His assistant did.
Rosa.
Okay, let me repeat this.
Yeah.
Not only did Biden not authorize it, the chief of staff, who shouldn't have the authority to authorize it, he didn't write the email to authorize it. His assistant did. And there was no clear chain of authorization from Biden himself. Under sworn questioning, Biden's former chief of staff openly acknowledged he didn't type the approval. His assistant, Rosa, did. She had full access to his email. No one could tell which email she wrote and which he wrote. Instructions were passed verbally through multiple people like a game of telephone. He was asked, did you write the email? He said, I do not believe I did. Who wrote it? Rosa. Did Rosa have access to your email? Yes. Could anyone tell which emails were from you, which were from Rosa? Not that I know of. He admits that the entire system worked like this. Rosa gave me a phone call. I assume Bruce and Ed walked back from the meeting. I told her to reach me. We were 16 hours from the end of the administration. People were offboarding. It was thinly staffed. She sent the email because I was at home and time was of the essence. I mean, they'd made the payoffs. We had to give them the pardons.
Yes.
Right?
Get these things out of here right now. Have they talked to Rosa?
I'm sure Rosa's getting a subpoena really soon.
I would hope so, and you ought to check some bank accounts, because I wonder if there was any money exchange for some of those pardons or different orders.
If the Biden administration is involved, they're pretty good at shuffling the money around to third world bank accounts and offshore accounts, and I'm sure that the money will be very hard to trace. Now, Kamala Harris is the other kind of funny story today. Kamala Harris has got her book out. What is it called? 106 days or something like. What is it? It's the amount of time she had to run for president. But they say it sold a lot of copies, and then I read that some of the big Democratic donors were buying a lot of copies of it to make it look like it was selling a lot of copies. And she's been out on a book tour. But Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, he's not real happy with the book. He
was one of the people high on the list of Democrats for being her vice presidential candidate, her running mate.
Truth be told, if they'd had a convention, I think he's probably the guy that the convention would have picked to be the presidential candidate. He's a much better candidate than she was. Much better candidate than he can actually put a sentence together that makes sense.
Speaking of him, did you hear him complaining yesterday? He's complaining that people are now driving by his house and shouting.
No, that was Tim Walz. Tim Walz is doing that, right?
Right. Yeah. People are shouting "retard" at his house.
He said they're driving by using the R word.
The R word,
but,
yes.
I just think Shapiro would have been a much better candidate, although he's just as infected with the left-wing liberal disease as anybody else, as witnessed by his anti-racist, anti-discrimination hair bill that he passed a couple of weeks ago in Pennsylvania. But Shapiro was asked, by the way, the book's 107 days. I was wrong. He said, quote, he addressed his, I shouldn't have said quote, he was addressing his portrayal of being arrogant, domineering, and entranced by the perks of being the vice president during the vetting process in her memoirs. In other words, this is what she wrote about him. And he said, she wrote that in her book, as if he hadn't read it. And he sat down with somebody from the Atlantic. He said, that's complete and utter bullshit. I can tell you her accounts are just blatant lies. So not holding back.
Her claim was that he was domineering in every meeting they had. He wanted to take over the meetings, that he insisted on being involved with any meetings as vice president and being in on the decision process. And she said he was very concerned about the vice presidential headquarters, or the home where the vice president stays, and said he was already looking around and sort of measuring the drapes as if he were already elected vice president of the United States.
Didn't like the looks of the Naval Observatory.
Exactly.
He was counting bedrooms and asking if the Smithsonian would lend Pennsylvania art for display while being vetted by Harris. That seems strange to me. Why would you ask her if the Smithsonian would end? It just seems like something that's made up. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Shapiro accused Harris of trying to sell books and cover her ass, is a direct quote, for her loss to Trump. And then he said, I shouldn't say cover her ass. I think that's not appropriate, Shapiro said. I love it. I love it.
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
All right. I want to ask you something. Have you ever known somebody? I just saw a story that just popped up on my feed this morning, and I got intrigued by it, and I read it, and I was fascinated. Have you ever known anybody who had a secret wife or a secret family or anything like secret girl, anything like that?
No, I can't. I can't imagine being able to keep a secret like that.
I can't either. A long time ago, back in the early 90s, I moved to Greensboro, North Carolina. And the neighborhood we lived in, this couple moved in to the house, and they had some children that were my children's age, and they played together, and we got to know this couple. And the wife told us this story about when she was growing up. She said, I went to school with these kids, and she said, they just looked really familiar. And she said, we were friends with them and everything. They were nice kids. And anyway, long story short, her father had another family, and they lived like one street away. Her father would literally go out the back door, go over to his other house, fool around with the other woman who got pregnant a couple of times. They weren't married, but she got pregnant a couple of times and had kids, and they went to school with his kids. And of course, it all got found out at some point, but weird.
There are some high-profile people who do. You remember Charles Kuralt, CBS?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
On the Road with Charles Kuralt.
Yeah, he was married. Situations. He was married, and he'd been married forever. But he had a girlfriend at his ranch. Was it at his ranch?
In Montana or somewhere.
Montana, Wyoming, or somewhere. Yeah, I remember that. That happened when I hadn't been in North Carolina very long, and he's an iconic figure here.
Right.
In fact, they buried him at the University of North Carolina.
Well, yeah, journalism. He was a journalism graduate there, I think, from University of North Carolina. Right. And his on-the-road segments made it very convenient for him to travel between households. That was a nice gig.
Yeah. Now, you want to see inside the RV? No, let's not get the camera inside the RV. Let's just stick outside here. Yeah. Don't go in the back of the RV, whatever you do. But the story I read this morning, I didn't even know this guy's name. His name is Jackie Vernon.
Right. Yeah.
And Jackie Vernon apparently was a successful actor, voiceover artist.
He was a comedian.
He was the voice of Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah.
And here he is. This is him right here.
Yeah.
And he was it. Well, his son just did an interview and explained that he had a couple of secret families. A couple.
Not just one.
He had a couple of secret families. And he found out about it kind of accident. The movie came out in 1969, by the way. And his son, what's his name here? Hazel, him and his wife, Hazel Sawyer, David Vernon is his name, recalled learning of his father's hidden past when two strangers showed up at his doorstep one evening. There was a woman there with a kid who was older than I was. He was probably in his late teens and a little rough around the edges. The woman asked to speak to my dad, and I said, my dad's on the road and he's not home. Then I remember she was very firm. She was like, well, then I want to speak with your mother. Vernon continued by explaining how his mother told him to go upstairs while she talked to the woman. I heard a very heated conversation. I bet.
I imagine.
And then a couple of minutes later, they left, and I had to know. It finally came out before our family. My dad had been married at least 3 other times, which I was kind of shocked to find out. One marriage was when he was in the military. From these 3 marriages, he had sons, and he named them all Ralph after himself.
Yeah.
Which was his original name, Ralph Verone. But he also abandoned those families and left them and moved on. So, a-hole.
Yeah.
Frosty the a-hole.
Can't imagine. Yeah. I remember seeing him on the old Ed Sullivan show. He was a stand-up. He'd come out and do very dry kind of jokes. And
I never heard of him.
Yeah. Yeah, he was
I never heard of him.
Pretty well-known stand-up comic, yeah.
I mean, he's not, if you look at him, he's not like the most handsome guy in the world to be
Well,
having,
and that's a glamour shot there.
Yeah.
Actually, he looks more like Frosty.
Well, anyway, and I assume he's long gone, dead.
Yeah. He's died several years ago.
Well, that's a crazy
that's,
story. I just read it. And I was just
leading that kind
of
of life, having that's got to be very taxing and trying on you. You have to be thinking all the time, well, if I do this, are they going to find out? If I do that, are they going to find out? You got to keep those secrets somehow. And it's got to be crazy.
Yeah, that's what this woman told us about her dad. It's like he always had some excuse why he was walking in the neighborhood and gone for hours at a time. And he had to go out of town, and she would think she would see him in his car places. It was pretty crazy. Well, if you watch YouTube a lot and you have an account, they're doing what all the social, you know how Facebook does this, Instagram, they do
I've never seen a YouTube
wrap
one.
up.
Huh.
Well, it's the first time they've ever done it, apparently. I'd never seen it. It just popped up the other day when I opened YouTube, and it's kind of embarrassing. It shows you what your top most watched video or subscribe creator is and all this. And my number one most watched content provider is Key West Waterman. It's this guy in Key West, him and his wife, and he's a professional charter captain. And he goes out and fishes and dives and everything. It's just relaxing to watch it, just mindless. The water's beautiful. He's catching fish or he's spearing fish. I watch it a lot, but it shows you all the, your top 10 most watched creators on YouTube. But Google, who owns YouTube, just released their top trending searches for 2025.
Okay.
And I thought their list was pretty interesting. As far as people goes, Pope Leo's at number 5, Erica Kirk at 4, singer murder suspect D4DV. Am I saying that right? D4DV? He's the one, he had like a some kind of exotic car, and he got pulled over. Anyway, there was a dead body in the trunk that'd been there for several days. And
who hasn't had that happen before? I mean, come on.
And it was crazy because I read the story, and then about 2 weeks later it goes, he's been charged with murder. And I went, well, it's about time. He had a body in his car. What else you want? 2 was Charlie Kirk shooting suspect Tyler Robinson. Charlie Kirk didn't even make the top 5. His wife did, but he didn't. And number 1, New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. So I didn't, I looked at that list. I didn't have a big problem with it. But then after I read the Google 2025 top trending podcast, I went, not sure I'd buy that list. At number 5, Good Hang with Amy Poehler, and that's a good podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's number 5, but it's good and it's doing well. Number 4, This Is Gavin Newsom. Come on.
Yeah, I'm not sure I buy that either.
Come on, let's put a big question mark, asterisk by that. Number 3, IMO with Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson. Big question mark, big asterisk by that one. Number 2, Charlie Kirk Show. I'll buy that. The number 1 podcast. Never even heard of it.
Not Jack
It's
Murphy?
called No, it's not Jack Murphy. It's called New Heights. Huh. Let's find out what it is real quick. The shocking part to me is that Joe Rogan, which is always ranked number 1 on podcasts, is not in the top 5. Hey, Grok, can you tell me what the New Heights podcast is about?
New Heights is a podcast hosted by NFL brothers Jason and Travis.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was the name of their podcast. Their podcast is very popular, but I would say it's more like number 7 or 8. But anyway, that's the Google list of podcasts for the year.
Well, we mentioned Charlie Kirk a couple of times. Did you see where Candace Owens is actually doubling down now on her claim that TPUSA is the one that murdered him?
Yeah. I have totally done a 180 on Candace Owens.
Yes. I mean,
I used to listen to her, and she was so articulate, and it seemed like she had researched everything so well, and now I just think she's a sensationalist. And
she claims now that she just received some new information last night that positively shows that it was an inside job, that TPUSA is actually
she's always receiving she's always receiving new information about something or somebody. And the thing is, she spins a good story.
Yeah.
She really does. She tells a great story. She knows there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. It just never gets to the end. She leads you right up to the end, but you never get there. But I haven't heard a lot.
Haven't heard a lot more about the Brigitte Macron thing either. I think that's
that lawsuit seemed to have gone away, if it ever existed. Who knows? Who knows?
I love you, and I miss you, and I'm thinking about you every day and night.
I love you too, Mama.
I love you, honey. I really do.
Well, I appreciate that.
Every day and night. Every day and night.
I know it. I know it.
And I'm thinking about you.
Well, alrighty.
And I love you.
Well.
And I miss you.
Alpha, you are an actor, an accomplished actor, and you've been in a lot of, big-time TV series, movies, some great roles. What is the logic behind the movies that are being released this time of the year? I mean, we're going into the Christmas holiday season, and the 2 big movies being released this weekend, I guess the big, it used to be that the biggest movie day was the day after Thanksgiving, right?
And then July 4th was big, for the
and then the
summer.
day after Christmas, I think, is really big because everybody's out of school.
Yeah,
you're bored. The adrenaline's all gone, and everybody goes to the movie. But anyway, the 2 big movies they're releasing this weekend: Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I never saw the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie. It involves animatronic mascots all possessed by the souls of murdered children.
Yeah, it's
Merry
like
Christmas.
It's like the all the things at Chuck E. Cheese, those animatronic things. So they're possessed by the by deceased children, and I know a guy who's in it.
That sounds satanic to me right here at Christmas as we celebrate the birth of Christ.
Seem like a It's a Wonderful Life kind of Christmas movie to me.
I would avoid that movie, not take my kids to see that movie.
Not saying. I know a guy who's in it, but sorry Christian, but I wouldn't go see it.
Number 2 movie opening this weekend, Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair.
Again,
it's extended cut version. It's extended cuts of volumes 1 and 2, and adds another 25 minutes of people getting sliced up with samurai swords. Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Merry Christmas. Of course, it stars Uma Thurman as the bride, a woman seeking revenge for being attacked on her wedding day and losing her unborn child.
Yep. It's not a wonderful. It's a Wonderful Life kind of Christmas movie.
Have you watched It's a Wonderful Life yet this year?
Not yet, but it's one of my all-time favorites. A few years ago, I did a one-man show of It's a Wonder on stage version. Did the whole movie myself on stage.
How did that work?
It was great. It was a 75-minute show. I did it from start to finish. Did all the characters.
You do everybody's part?
Yeah.
You do everybody?
Yeah.
Did you have to memorize the whole thing?
Of course, yeah. Yeah,
How
but
do you do that?
I'm so familiar with the movie anyway that it was pretty easy to
I am too, but I can't remember that much of it. That's amazing.
You once called me a miserable old warped man, but what are you but a miserable young man crawling in here on your hands and knees like a little clerk?
I
you
love
were
that
more
movie.
dead than alive.
I watched Home Alone last night.
Yeah.
And it holds up pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. And always watch It's a Wonderful Life. And let's see, the other one. I've come to really appreciate all the different versions of Ebenezer Scrooge. Even the old black and white ones. I love them.
Yeah.
And I don't like him in a lot of stuff, but I kind of love the Jim Carrey. What is that called? Where it's not animation. It's it's him.
Oh,
but
in Grinch?
No. There's a Disney did an Ebenezer Scrooge with
really?
Jim Carrey, but it's not animated, but it's some sort of
right.
They did something. I don't know. It looks half human, half animated. I don't know what you call that, but he does a really good job.
Yeah, he's a great actor. A little weird, but a great actor.
Yeah. But I love watching the Christmas movies, as you can tell from my beautiful tree here in the background, which I have nothing to do with.
You have to watch Christmas Vacation.
Oh, yeah. We've already watched that one, too.
Okay.
And every time I watch it, I notice something new. I came in and it was on. What we did was with YouTube TV, we had it set up to record just Christmas movies. So anyone comes on any of their channels, it records them. So I came in right as they were out in the mountains in the knee-deep snow and picked out the tree. And the little boy says, "Dad, did you bring a saw?" and it cuts to them driving down the highway, and the tree's just been pulled out of the ground and the root balls in the back, and they're going down the highway. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's every year there's lines from that movie that get repeated around our house, all the time, like the blessing.
Some good series. I mean, it got kind of weak in the third and fourth version, but
yeah, well, they always do.
It was nice. So tomorrow, 3:30.
Yep.
It's Georgia and Alabama. I want to hear your prediction.
I think Alabama's going to win, man.
Okay, that's all right. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be wrong. It's all right. Not a problem.
But I'm still hopeful that the monkey wrench will be Duke beating Virginia in the ACC championship.
Yeah, I'd like to see what happens when they do that. What about Ohio State, Indiana? How do you feel about that one?
I'd love to see Indiana win, but
I would too.
Don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't think it's going to happen either.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what could happen right now. You could become a subscriber to this podcast by simply clicking the subscribe button down below and liking this video, and it would make our Christmas so wonderful.
You would have a great Christmas. We would have a great Christmas. It would be
the greatest Christmas ever.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, have a great weekend. Go Dogs. We'll see you on Monday on the Jack Murphy Podcast.
Thanks for watching the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Go ahead, ring it. Get alerts when a new episode drops. And tell your friends about the Jack Murphy Podcast. But only the cool friends, please. Tune in next time for another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.